I used to be optimistic, but I'm increasingly pessimistic. I came to my views, maybe if there was a moment that I can identify, I read Whittaker Chambers. Wrote one of the great autobiographies in the American language. The only other great one is, the only one on the same level is maybe The Education of Henry Adams. But the Chambers, when he left communism, believed deeply that he was leaving the winning side for the losing side. This was in the 1930s. He was never a high-ranking communist. He was only a courier. And he was this magnificent writer who had happened to be a courier to a guy named Alger Hiss. And it was his testimony, it was Chambers' testimony about Hiss that led Hiss to jail. And Hiss went to jail not for being a communist, but for lying, saying that he didn't ever know Whittaker Chambers, where they'd been great friends. I would defy anybody to read that part of Witness, his autobiography called A Letter to My Children. I would defy any reader to read that without tearing up. And when I read Chambers, it introduced me to anti-communism, albeit he was an American communist, and really my sensitivities went to non-American communists. But he had a marvelous quote that I've had on my wall for a long time. And I might be able to give it to you right now. It is idle to talk about preventing the wreck of Western civilization. It's already a wreck from within. And that is why we can hope to do little more now than snatch a fingernail of a saint from the rack, or a handful of ashes from the faggots, and bury them secretly in a flower pot against the day ages hence, when a few men begin again to dare to believe that there was once something else, that something else is thinkable and needs some evidence of what it was, and the fortifying knowledge that there were those who, at the great nightfall, took a loving thought to preserve the tokens of hope and truth. It's not a very optimistic statement, but I fear that it may be true.